want to thank you for coming here this morning to have breakfast with the superintendent. We have a lot of breakfast for you to eat, so feel free to take some home with you. But anyway, I do appreciate you guys being here today. Our breakfast is sponsored by Wade Zimmer and the SZH Architecture, so we want to thank them for providing breakfast for us this morning. Today is going to be this morning is going to be very informal. So at any point, if you have questions, one of the things about the Breakfast with Superintendent is it's more personable than anything else. Any town hall meetings that we've had, this is our last one. It's number 4. This is why we put a Q&A on there so you can ask questions or stop us at any point, and let's talk about the things that you are concerned about. One of the things that we started with at our fall breakfast with the superintendent, I asked you guys, kind of did an opening with what are some things that we do at Aquila that you're proud of, or things that we do, and you guys shared some stuff. What I wanted to do today was I wanted to share with you, to open us up, some things that we do at Aquila that maybe you don't have any idea about. And so I asked, a few people, staff members, I'm like, what are some things that we do that you think that maybe people don't know about, that you would like for us to know about? And this stems from a conversation from Mike Morath, Commissioner of Education. And he asked us in a meeting one time, he was like, tell me the things that are going on in your district that are the good things that you don't think people know about. And so I just wanted to tell you a couple of did you knows. And then this kind of went on to several slides. So I tried to condense it a little bit. But I just want to tell you again, just some things that go on with our district. One of the things that we're very proud about is our K through 5th grade have electives for 45 minutes each day that include ag, band, theater, art, and health. And this is on top of their PE. So, they go to PE, but this is something that they rotate through a 6-week schedule. And so they're able to have that enrichment through these activities. And when we started this, what we said was our goal was to get these kids involved early and to get them initiated with these programs, and they can identify things that they like so that when they progress on to junior high and high school, these programs will have more of an interest in these younger kids. And it's working, y'all. It's working. This is some of the proudest moments of these young people's day is when they get to go to some of these classes. So that's been very cool. Aquila, we're an expert, we call ourselves, in the early childhood education. So we house the early childhood special education needs students here at Aquila for several school districts. And so they get brought to us. And we have an excellent program. If you have not seen that program, it's phenomenal. Several of our students receive multiple types of therapy that you probably don't know about, but we offer speech, occupational, physical, auditorial, visual. All of these things are offered to those kids that need those things here at Aquila. We built a room for that when we built the early childhood wing. In 2016, we put that in there because we felt so strong about providing those services in that area for these kids. And so it's a neat little place for them to get those services. Each 6 weeks, our elementary celebrates literacy and math success with this huge, I want to call it a pep rally, but it's a morning assembly, and they roar. And Miss Page, the elementary principal, is here today. I'm not going to ask her to demonstrate how they roar. But they roar, y'all. That gym gets pretty loud. It's pretty exciting. But it's an opportunity for kids to get called out and to recognize their success. Aquila's student base is currently 63% economically disadvantaged. And that's important to know because we are educating those kids just like we would educate any other kid, and those kids are learning. And that's very, very important. I was born into a home that we were also economically disadvantaged. And oftentimes those kids get this label placed on them. But luckily, I too was educated with every other kid, and I too was able to be successful despite that economically disadvantaged. 125 of our 336 students receive a number of special education program services, including 504, dyslexia, bilingual, and so forth. A lot of things go on at Aquila ISD that some people just totally do not know about. These are some fun things. So we have an inch-by-inch garden that our EC Early Childhood Wing, those kids put together. It's right outside their building, and they're able to go out and work the garden and the flowers and the things as a enrichment growing opportunity for them. They love it. They received a grant through our Education Foundation for that, and so it was completely funded. It's really exciting. Last year, Aquila ISD received a perfect financial audit. That rarely happens in school districts. There's always something that has to go back and be changed when it comes to numbers, but our audit was perfect to the penny. Our auditor bragged about us to our board because he mentioned that he did some 56 school districts, and he has not seen this, and that was pretty big for us. And so we are very excited about that. I would like to take all the credit. Just kidding. Okay, I had to make sure y'all are still awake. Okay, that credit belongs to Mr. Christian. He's our assistant superintendent, does a phenomenal job in the area of finance. And anyway, I appreciate him in doing that work. PALS is our Peer Assistance Leadership Program, which is our high school students that go into elementary classes and have a PAL, and they pull out a kid to work with that kid throughout the year. This year, we've also incorporated our PALs to help our teachers by doing multiple things for teachers, whether that's making copies, laminating, just kind of doing all the teacher stuff. And so they're getting their feel for that. We have a STAC and a SAC. And what that is that the Superintendent Student Advisory Council is STAC. Superintendent Advisory Council is staff members, and we meet once a month. We provide them lunch or afternoon snack, whichever the meeting is, and we get together and we talk about things that are going on in the school and how we can make them better. It's really neat for me as a superintendent to see that group perspective from a staff point of view and to see it from a student point of view, and then to merge those ideas together to do different things for our district. That's been a proven success to get input through there. Reading Buddies in elementary, Star Breakfast Cafe. We provide a free breakfast for all of our Star kids on Star testing days. And what that means is it's like a real breakfast. They actually go into the library that's set up like a cafe that day, and they have a breakfast similar to you guys, where we typically order out and bring breakfast in to make those guys feel pretty special before their test. Stuco adopted a highway. If you haven't seen the sign, I encourage you to look at it on your way out on 933, 2 miles right outside here, adopted by Aquila ISD Student Council. And so they've started cleaning up the road for 2 miles right out there. You might not know we send home weekend Paul Packs. Paul Packs are simple backpacks that we stuff with snacks and goodies and things that kids might need over the weekend where they might not get it at home. We basically do it very simple by placing it in a backpack and putting it in that kid's locker or giving it to that kid's teacher to take home on Friday, and those kids take it home and no one ever knows about it. That's pretty awesome. Very amazing program that our counselor, Miss Montez, implemented when she got here. And we send home, I want to say, yeah, so somewhere in the neighborhood of 15 to 20 a week, and that's every week, so we like that. Cougar TV is just something we have TVs placed throughout our campus that our students actually do a news broadcast where they do our announcements, so kids can watch their announcements. Their birthdays pop up and different things, things that you might not know. Blooming Leaders is part of our ag program, our FFA, where they're taking floral arrangements out to gravesites. Lainey Frazier took that on this past year. And the letters that we receive on that from people that get word of that, that's been very powerful. It's been powerful for those kids to make those arrangements and take them. We're trying to teach our kids to be good citizens. That's one of the programs that is doing just that. We're offering free breakfast and lunch for all students. This is our second year to do that, and we're very, very proud of that thing. A lot of things going on at Aquila. So are these some of the things y'all might not have known about? Anybody? Yeah, maybe a couple. So I had a meeting with, I've had a lot of meetings since this bond period started. And I appreciate those meetings because people come in and they talk to me personally one-on-one, and we're able to answer questions. And this helped me to kind of share with you a couple of these things, because one of the meetings I had, the individuals asked about, what are we doing for teachers? What are we doing for staff? And these are things that we don't necessarily raise a flag and tell everybody this is what we do, but these are good questions and we want them to know that. So Aquila provides a no-cost insurance to all of our employees. And what this is that for that single employee that needs insurance, our board has elected to pay whatever that premium is for that year. If you know insurance, you know that is a rising number year by year by year. Aquila tried to put money towards it each year for several years, and 3 years ago we bit the bullet and we did it, and we made a commitment to our staff that we were going to do it, and we continue that commitment every single year, even though insurance goes up. So if you are an employee at Aquila and you just need that single insurance, it's paid for by Aquila. It's really big. Aquila pays teachers above the state base. Yes, ma'am.
Just on that insurance, is that part of the Aquila school budget every year then?
Yes, yeah. And so we do pay teachers above the state base, which is also something that's big for a school district this size to do that. And so we're real proud of that. We have developed a salary schedule so that all of our staff are on a schedule, so that when we're allowed to give teachers a pay increase, that pay increase funnels down to our custodians, our cafeteria workers, our paraprofessionals, and everyone else. So that's kind of exciting thing that we do for all staff also. We do have ongoing employee morale boosters and retention incentives. The Aquila Education Foundation, which we'll talk about in a minute, provides grants. We recognize students through senior breakfast, ROAR, Argo, so forth. Another meeting that I had, someone asked me about the bond and providing more instruction through the bond as a way of how can we provide more instruction through our bond? And I asked them for examples, like how can we do that? We are providing a bond is out there to provide facilities necessary for the instruction of school. But one thing that I was able to share with this individual was that Aquila, we're an A-rated school district currently with TEA. We also have received 100 CCMR, which is College Career Military Readiness Standards, and very rarely does a district receive 100% on that. Granted that if one of our kids was not to be one of these readiness skills, our kids are worth about 4% or up to 6% each. And so that's a huge deal for us to have 100 on this reoccurring. We've received a perfect score on our financial transparency report, which is our first rating. We have a solid fund balance. You might not know that 34 of our students are in dual credit. And what that means is that they're receiving college credit this semester, 130 hours collectively. That's a third of our high school students, y'all. That's big. That's big. For a third of our kids to be enrolled in a dual credit course is pretty powerful. And we'll talk a little bit about that a little bit later when we talk about PTEC also.
Quick question.
Yep.
Which of these things and which of the items funded by the bond contribute to your ability to hire teachers and retain teachers? The facilities, I know the insurance,
Mm-hmm.
is a nice draw.
Sure.
Do facilities factor in with these things for you to keep staff?
I believe it does. I believe that teachers are very understanding that when they come to Aquila, we're going to try to give them everything that they need. And one of those things is, and I come from other districts where teachers had to share classes, where they had to float around, where they had art on a cart, and that's what the art teacher did. She moved her art class around on a cart. That plays big on teachers. Teachers need their space. They need an opportunity to decorate a classroom, to have these space where kids can come in and it's their own. And so I do think that these spaces provide that retention factor. We get a lot of compliments on our building by itself, just that it's a beautiful campus, and it is. But I've also been in a place where education went on and it wasn't a beautiful campus. So I'm not just saying that we have a beautiful campus. We're very honored to have so. And our building, is 12 years old, the newest part, and it doesn't even look 12 years old, So we're trying to keep up with those things. But maybe that answers your question a little bit. Yeah, sure.
In its simplest form, if it looked like this, teachers, they want what's best for their kids, right? Like, they become our kids. So if you look at just the therapy room, just a space, a physical space, and the teacher knows that the kid that they love is going to get what they need in a physical space that isn't a closet, that toots us up, right? That makes us feel better. We talk about how I've got a secondary class in my elementary hallway because we don't have the physical space. I would love to get that class out of my hallway, because you know what that does? That opens up the opportunity to give a larger classroom to a class that's growing, that desperately needs one right now. So physical space, it immediately affects the kids again.
For sure. Yes, ma'am.
How many teachers do you have, and what is the student ratio per teacher?
Very good question. So as teachers, we do staff and teachers. Our teachers are separate. Mr. Christian would.
Yeah, we have probably a little over 30 teachers. So, and then as far as the ratio, probably depend. It's, I guess, important to distinguish between elementary and secondary. And then we also have instructional staff that are not teachers, especially at the elementary levels, that go in and help kids get more individualized support.
And that has been a skewed number because there's several reports that say we're 7-1 or something, or 12-1, or something like that. And they gather these numbers based on the number of staff that we have. And we have to classify our paraprofessionals if they're part of an instructional class, meaning they help the teacher out. Some of those reports would classify them as actual teachers. And so that's where, I did see a report to 7-1. I wish we had 7 kids to 1 teacher. That would be amazing. I wish we even had 12-1. Our classes are growing. And so if I had to, guess, we would say somewhere in the neighborhood of 18 to, 20, on average, with that number. Right. I picked out a couple of students just because I think that this is big. Mikey McKibben, he's a senior, will attend East Texas Baptist University and actually will sign tomorrow a contract to be Toby the Tiger. Right now he's Mac the Cougar. And so that's taking place tomorrow, and it's neat because we have the whole signing ceremony and so forth. Real proud of him. Isabella, also proud of her. She received the Presidential Scholar through McLennan Community College. And what that is it's a highly sought after scholarship. I believe this scholarship, I can't tell you how many they had, but they only selected 15 individuals to be on this. And it's really big because they serve as ambassadors for the college. Her tuition fees and books are paid for. She'll get to go to a trip each year that she's a part of that with the president of MCC. So it's just a really neat opportunity for her And then for her personally, being a first-generation college student, is very, very big. And so we're real proud of those individuals. Did you know that we had 300 extracurricular activities that our students, coaches, teachers participate in? You might not know that. And when I say that, we have an administrator at each and every event. And so that's divided amongst 4 people. So you take that number and you have administrators basically at 75 to sometimes 100 events a year. That's a lot, y'all. That's a lot. And we actually have an Excel sheet that starts on day 1 and goes all the way through to the end of the year that assigns these to individuals. You probably didn't know that. A lot of schools do not do that. And we pride ourselves on that and the fact that we're able to send someone to each of those events. One of my proud things, and I think that this is where we're going to end with, did you know? One of the things that we have strived to do was recruit and retain excellent individuals to be in our district. One way that we've done that was we went after alumni from Aquila, and we currently have 13 staff that graduated from Aquila. Let me tell you, you're getting old when you've been principal of some of these people, okay? So I was the principal for several of these individuals, and yeah, it kind of makes me feel old. But I am so glad that they chosen to come back and work for their alma mater and be a part of the great things that we have going on here. We'll talk a little bit about them just a little bit later in the Grow Your Own process. But guys, that's pretty big to have 13 of those individuals. I'm going to run through this next part fairly quick because you guys have probably heard this before. But 2 years ago, our district board went through the process of selecting SMART goals. SMART goals are just meaning that they can be measured. And we've actually started with like 12 long-term goals, and we condensed to 4 things that we really feel like were important to this district for this coming year. In June, the board will go to another retreat, and they'll pick, or add to our SMART goals. But these are the 4 goals that the board elected. Was future facility planning, which we have developed a long-term plan for this district's facilities and what it's going to look like. Parent community involvement, what that's going to look like. We've strived real hard this year to make sure we're communicating more effectively, efficiently with our parents and community. In May, we're going to send out a survey to our parents and community members, and they'll get an opportunity to judge and rank us on how well we've done on that part. And that's why it says going from 0 to 90. We're shooting high on 90%, but we hope that we've done some things this year to make things a lot better when it comes to involvement and communication and so forth. Staff retention, again, is a big thing. We want that number to go up because we believe that we do offer some great things here and ways to keep individuals here once they get here has been a goal, and we want to continue that to be a goal to raise that number to 86.7. Extracurricular activities, we want 100% of our students to be involved in some extracurricular activity, and this means all the way down to elementary students. We just believe that research tells us that individuals that are involved in something extra outside of school provides them the ability to be a team player, to be amongst other folks, gives them the ability to be more successful in life, is what research tells us. So we want to make sure that we're doing that. We've actually sent out surveys to the elementary kids, and it's kind of interesting to see what those little guys are interested in. So we might have a Lego club coming up. And so don't y'all laugh if I'm going to be the club sponsor for that event. But I'm like, y'all still play with Legos? But anyway, so there's just neat things that kids want to be involved in, and this is one way that we're going to do it. As you know, one of the purposes of the town hall meeting was to share with you our vision of 2022, a bold step in our pursuit of a bigger and brighter tomorrow. This just kind of tells you the retention rates, wherever we've been to where we're headed. You can see that number is going up over the last 5 years. We want it to continue to go up, and that's just the extracurricular part. State of the district, real quick, if you've seen the videos, you've probably seen these. We won't spend a whole lot of time on it. School finance, you know those numbers. This slide gets repeated over, but we're proud of those numbers. We're proud that we have been good stewards of money in this district. At the end of the year, when we have money left over, we don't rush to spend it. We go and we put it in our savings account. And that's big for a school district this size to have that much money in our fund balance. Do you have any finance or budget questions? I just kind of wanted to open it up to.
Well, like you said, the last 2 years you've been able to provide breakfast and lunch for the students. So do you get grant money for that, or?
Right. So that was a federal program that we had to apply for a grant for that. And part of that was through the, not sure the name of the grant, but it's through the COVID process, and them providing those opportunities. School districts did have to go out and apply for those. School districts had to jump through some hoops for those. We are subject to cafeteria audits each year because we're participating in this program, because this being federal, there's certain things that we can and cannot serve. And so we took the initiative to say we will do all that to provide this service for our kids. We do hope that it is something that we can continue, even if the federal government says we can't. And even if that's just breakfast. Lunch is a big thing. But if we could just even provide free breakfast when the federal government's through with this whole thing, that's something that this district is going to strive to do.
So on your school budget that has food services, is that where that money is?
That would be, yeah, correct. Yep. All right, good question. Anybody else? Budget?
Yeah, I have another question
Yeah.
on student transportation. The budget is $204,000. And of course, my first thought was, is this just busing kids to school? Or does this include busing them to all their activities, extracurricular activities?
Sure.
Is that what that is?
Yeah, so it includes all that. Mr. Christian, you want to jump
so
on
it would include the payroll of every bus driver that we have, their benefits, their contributions to TRS. It includes anything that we budget for maintenance for the buses, fuel for the buses to go to any trip, and then also, like if we have to budget for future purchases, like we're considering an upgrade to our special education bus that we have, and so we have to budget the money for that.
So how many school buses?
So we have 3 route buses that run routes. Total school buses, I think we have 6 in a special education school bus. The interesting thing about our fleet, and I did not include that slide into this, but our fleet, our district adopted a fleet plan so that we're able to go through our fleet once they hit a certain year and able to sell those and get newer buses and newer fleet to put on the road to make sure that our kids are safe. And I gave an example in one meeting, but transporting those kids is a big responsibility of this district, and we want to make sure that we are putting everything we can into the maintenance and upkeep of those buses, that they're not breaking down. We used to get calls all the time about buses breaking down or being stranded somewhere. We have not. Knock on something. Thank you, Jesus. But we have a very good transportation director also now that's just been a totally amazing asset to this and has jumped on board where we're doing a lot of the stuff in-house, but we're also getting that fleet through. Our oldest bus, I think, is 2016 When I first got here, our oldest bus was like almost my age. And so it now serves as a greenhouse somewhere, by the way. But anyway, but seriously, we're proud of that. And we're proud of the fact that we're able to budget for these things so that this year we'll get a new special education bus. Those are expensive, but it's just because we built it into our budget as a way to get there. So
The other thing is like, sometimes you, like the year before, we purchased a brand new bus. New buses are over $100,000. Our transportation director wrote a grant that paid for half of that bus. And so, but we don't, on the budget side, we still have to budget the entire expense. So even though we have revenue coming in that offset a lot of that cost on the budget, it's still going to reflect the full cost. Just somewhere there's revenue built into the budget, but it's just not, I guess, itemized the same way.
And how young are the early childhood development students?
3 is the
Three?
3. Yeah. Yep. District bond information. You've probably seen this flyer. I won't spend a lot of time on it. We do have Tamara here if you have any questions. She is a co-chair of the facilities committee. But this is our proposed projects for instruction, athletic, and facility improvements. Again, the thing I want to say about this is a committee got together, they put this together, and these are things that we believe that are needed for this district. And so I can answer questions on this if anybody has them, and then Tamara can also. Yeah. One of the things that we do want to spend just a little bit of time today on is talking about the age 65 and older rule. Sometimes when we say different things, they don't come out correctly. And when we say those things, we want to make sure that they do come out correctly. So we just want to spend a little bit of time on this. I know the facilities committee is also doing some publications, and I think an ad in the paper, and you might see this again. But what we do want people to realize is that if you are 65 and older, and you have that home exemption, your tax impact is frozen. It will be $0. We do have Mike McKibben here today, but this is the reason why we put the article in here so that you can understand that the Texas Constitution protects a person over 65 from any increase. What this means is that the appraised value of your property, while it can go up, the school tax rate can go up, but the amount of dollars that one pays will not go up. And so if they have that 65 or older exemption, this is something that we need to make sure that everyone understands and everyone gets this message. If you have any questions, the appraisal district office, Mike McKibben and his people have been wonderful at getting this information to people. If they call, they ask questions, if they make sure they have the exemption. If they don't have the exemption, they can inform you on how to get the exemption. But this is very, very key in the fact that individuals need to know that, because their taxes will not be impacted. All right. Any questions on that I can answer? Real quick, teacher certifications. We do typically get questions about teacher certifications and how you're certified in Texas. These are the types of certificates individuals have. And their term of how long they can have these things and so forth. Typically, all of our teachers have a standard certified classroom certificate that they have to renew every 5 years. If they're on a probationary, it's because they're new to this district or they're a first-year teacher, and those will last up to 3 years. District can give away a non-renewable permit for 1 year just because we feel like the individual does have coursework that is suitable for them to teach that subject, and or they are testing to pass that test so that they can be certified. And then emergency, same thing, working on that test to become certified.
Sorry, I meant to make this comment back on the tax.
Yeah,
rate,
yeah.
But I want to compliment Hill County because you didn't follow McLennan County. I mean, we got our appraisal and it went up nominally, but it wasn't this huge amount that some of our neighbors are experiencing in other counties. And
Right.
I actually called one of the staff just to ask them some general questions about this, and they were very, very helpful. So appreciate that.
And also to that credit, there's also a chart floating around too that talks about the minimal increase that Hill County taxes did go up, and so we'll see a way maybe we can get that out to individuals. But it's a good indicator on just so you can see how much property taxes went up here as opposed to McLennan County, which McLennan County is kind of crazy. Grow Your Own grant. We talked about this earlier, but again, I just think it's important for this district to know, or this community to know the amount of money that we receive through a Grow Your Own grant. One of the things that the commissioner did several years ago was he asked us what we could do in rural America or rural Texas to help in the education process. And I'm like, give us an opportunity to recruit and retain quality individual teachers. And I feel like he might have heard me 3 years later because we applied for this grant for 3 years and never got it. But we finally were able to get the Grow Your Own grant, and we'll talk about that a little bit. But it was to facilitate and increase entry and qualify diverse candidates into the teaching profession, particularly in rural and small areas, providing support for professionals to become certified teachers, and so forth. In 2020, we received the grant for $84,000, and we kept knocking at the door. We received the grant again for cycle 2, which is very, very rare, and we received another $74,000. And what we did was we convinced individuals through our grant that we have people in this program. We have this program being successful for our district. We need a little bit more time to push these individuals across the stage. We are so excited about the number of individuals that we're going to have that are paraprofessionals become actual teachers through the grace of this Grow Your Own program or grant. These are the grant recipients in the first cycle. You can see we had 8 individuals participate in that. And then in the grants in the cycle 2, of course, it hasn't started yet. Some of these individuals will go down to cycle 2 to finish their degree. What does this pay for? So it's basically professionals to become certified. So tuition reimbursement per candidate, $18,000 per bachelor's certification, and up to $7,500 for certification only. So what that means is, back to this chart, we have several of these individuals that have a bachelor's degree, and I'll just talk to you about Taylor Page. She has a bachelor's degree in art. She did not have her teaching certification. She's also an alumni from Aquila. We had a late opening in this summer for an art teacher, and we made a call, and we were like, have you ever thought about teaching? And she's like, actually, I have. And so she actually is working through her alternative certification to become a certified teacher because she has her bachelor's degree. And what this program will do is it will pay $7,500 to that certification. So that certification cost her almost that amount, like $6,000 something. This is totally going to reimburse her for that amount and give her a teaching certificate that she'll have for the rest of her life. That's powerful, y'all. That is powerful stuff. And that's happened to several.
You take that at night or
Yeah, good question. Yeah, so how that works is they are subject to classes either online or at night or on Saturdays. So we have several individuals that are in different programs. Some are in McLennan County or McLennan Community College program, which I sit on that alt-cert board. And then some are I Teach Texas, but They all have supervisors that come out to them throughout the year and evaluate them in their classroom, provide feedback to them and the principal. And we have several individuals that are participating in that. Lauren Cockrell was our very first graduate through that program, and so she is now a full-time teacher, but we were able to pay for her alt certification and so forth. Just really, really exciting. And then, like I said, this next cycle will push individuals like Peyton Casares, Brittany Mitchell. Those are paraprofessionals that came in with a little bit of college credit. This is paying for the rest of their college credit. Peyton has been very, very instrumental. He's a custodian. And I keep telling him he's going to work his way up to my desk chair. It's like, I don't want to be superintendent. And I was like, neither did I. Okay, even more so now. No, I'm kidding. But in all seriousness, the kid's got a beautiful story, and he's starting in janitorial, and he's taking classes, and he's got a 3.6 or 7, doing phenomenal. And we give him an afternoon off 2 times a week, I think, to go and participate in his classes, and then he does the rest at night. So these individuals are taking advantage of this program, but again, it's paying for us to recruit some really amazing people. This has been my baby. I've talked about it a lot. I talked about it last meeting. Won't spend a whole lot of time on it. We had a meeting last night to talk to 8th graders that are coming in as freshmen, because they get to be part of this program, that if they choose one of the STEMs through P-TECH, our board has elected to pay for their college dual credit courses. We've already paid for books and different things for everyone, but we're going to pick up the fees on tuition for these individuals. And basically this just gives an open enrollment at no cost to students. It gives them that post-secondary credential or that industrial certificate. We have to have a memorandum of understanding with higher education, which we do with Hill College. They've been great. And with the business industry, Valero has been great in this community in working with us on that. And we're just really excited that we can have kids walk away with quite a bit of college credit hours, or an associate's, or an industry certificate as part of this program. This program was also a grant where we received $200,000 the first time. We were one of 12 districts in the state to receive this initial funding. This was something new. Area schools, big districts around here applied and did not receive it. Aquila was very, very fortunate. We hit the ground running. They gave us 1 year to implement it. The second year, this year, we had 11 freshmen enrolled in that program. 45% of our freshmen were enrolled in this program. So we went back to TA. We said, it's working. It's working like the Grow Your Own grant. Can we do this again? Can you give us more money? It's unheard of, okay? TA said, yes, we can. We're going to give you $225,000 more to improve your program. They call it enhance your current program, and to add an additional STEM to it. So currently we have the automotive and teaching and education. So what that does is provide an automotive certificate. The teaching education certificate, again, goes back to recruiting teachers even as young as 9th grade. But even if they don't want to be a teacher, it takes care of that basic coursework that could transfer to any college anywhere. And so that's what's very, very important. This year, we're adding welding to that STEM. So we're real excited about that part of Cycle 2 and enhancing the other parts. The Aquila Education Foundation, and I'm almost done, was a program that we started during COVID, actually. And we got it rough patch getting it off the ground. But what it is, it's a 501(c) corporation that consists of individuals, that consists of a board. And what that board does is raises money throughout the year to give back to our teachers and our students in the form of grants. And we were going to have a big fundraiser this year, and I've said this before, and unfortunately we had to cancel that fundraiser, and instead we did a membership drive. We did a membership drive, sent out a few letters to individuals, and asked for their support in this process. And through the course of a membership drive that lasted a month or 6 weeks, something like that, we've raised over $15,000 through the help of individuals, businesses, citizens. Thank you guys for being a part of that. But that money will in turn, teachers can apply for it, and at the beginning of next year, they will be given grants to implement certain programs. The Inch by Inch Garden that we talked about at the beginning was a grant that was through the Education Foundation. They paid for all of that stuff. Theater Arts requested a special projector that provided light effects. The Education Foundation provided that for this group. So these are the individuals, and I just mentioned them because if you ever want to be involved in some of the amazing work that they do, you might know one of these people, but Jerry Stevens is the president. Linda Henderson is a treasurer, very passionate about education. Her mom was actually a teacher at Aquila, and so the Hendersons have been very instrumental in this. Also, Tarana Hester secretary Charles Perkins was actually our old band member who started band here at Aquila, and he sits on that board. And Trey Turner graduated in Aquila a few years ago, went to Baylor University Sikkim Bears. That's not how he got on the board at all. Just need to throw that out there. Very proud of Trey and the work that he's doing. And then Mr. Christian is a district representative, if you ever want to be a part of that. Amazing things going on here at Aquila. And again, like I said at the last thing, I'm just a very small part of that. The credit, again, belongs to everyone else that makes it great. And so, anyway, questions, comments, concerns that I can answer that I might have left out something? Or
Can I make a comment?
yes.
I'd just like to say that a majority of communities around the state typically step up and support lines and support, the local children. There's I guess a small group of local people that oppose the bond for whatever their personal reasons are. There's also a large number of parents that appreciate what you do for the school and support the bond and our children. I'd also like to commend the board for having the foresight and the vision to address the needs that the district has, and also commend them for not doing what might be popular with some of their friends and doing the right thing. So there are a lot of us out there that do support. I just wanted to pass that on.
Appreciate that, Mike. Thank you very much. This has been a rough semester, y'all. I won't stand up here and tell you it's been easy. I've been doing this job for 10 years, and this has been rough. Did we intend for it to be rough? Not at all. We intended to put a vision out in front and basically let the voters choose. And that's exactly what we're doing. Early voting starts on Monday, and all those dates are in the paper and on our website and on our bond page. We encourage you to get out and vote and do what you feel is best for you, this community, and for those 337 kids in that building. They mean a lot to us, and we are thankful that the community entrusts their care and their education to us. Any other questions from you guys? We got a lot of breakfast to eat, okay? So I encourage you to stick around, eat some breakfast, and thank you guys for spending this morning with me. Thank you.